first thing I want to do is acknowledge our lovely, juicy, sexy servers. Everybody knows how you grew a mustache in one day. It's fantastic. Good. So, yeah, beautiful job. And also Heidi back there. I really wanted to thank her for, you didn't get your acknowledgement at the at the intermission, Heidi, but I just want
hiding.
Oh, so, how many of you were with us yesterday for the VIP after party? So please show of hands. Thank you, our fans and lovers, supporters that keep coming back. Heck yeah. What we want to do is take a moment to reflect on the show, since we've been, sharing our love and wisdom with you. We want to hear from you what you learned, or what inspired you, or what you got from the show. Go ahead and close your eyes for a moment. Take a few breaths. Hand to the heart center and just feel this new kind of worship, or the communion that we co-created here tonight. What was the most valuable thing you got? And then also feel into if you have any questions or any challenges or triggers or judgments. Take 5 more breaths to really give permission to whatever's stirring in you as a result of stirring it up as we did tonight. And then to give permission for all of it, the judgments as well as the positive as well as the negative judgments, but all the experience, we're going to sound Om together. See a few hands of people that want to share first. What did you learn, or what did you get from tonight? Okay, so I've got Nick, I've got Julie, Vilma, anyone else? Good, and Francoise. Starting with Nate.
I just want to share my love and respect for the journey that all of you made to dive into this and examine your shame, look into your past, and to grow on this beautiful path, to see you all growing up there and celebrating. And it was just beautiful, because your growth and your healing is our growth and our healing. And I thank you for that.
Julie.
To piggyback what Nate was talking about, just to really acknowledge you and your work, really fine-tuning like the sculpture, just the pure essence of your message, like finding the exact words and movements, and really opening up to allow like real truth to be seen and heard.
Yay.
I just want to appreciate each and every one of you. I was part of it for a while, and see the transformation that happens, and I just see you up there, and like you're professionals. It's like, I just love coming to this and seeing this performance. It's amazing. I have a question to ask you two of you that want to answer. What was the most challenging thing that came up for you this journey?
Good. I'm going to questions in a moment. So I love it. Thank you. Aho, Wilma, thank you.
I was touched by the various little lessons it reminded me of, and especially the bishop. I want to thank you for bringing to our attention how often in our life do we let a little voice of authority dictate what we do. That was a strong one. Thank you.
Good. So, Claudia.
Yeah, I'm really happy that I'm bringing several of my passions together. I'm really into polyfidelity. I'm running a polyfidelity group, but I'm also running a group of parenting beyond religion. And there I'm bringing together the secular, humanist, atheist children. And we're teaching them from the beginning, there's no shame and there's no sin. So they don't even go that direction.
Yeah, thank you for that work. The work you do. Thank you. Good. So I'm going to take one more comment, then we'll go to questions. Yes.
Hi. I thank Jim for inviting me tonight. This is the first time I've been here. And what I see is, for me, religion didn't mean anything. So I'm kind of looking at my judgment. I'm going, why are we talking about this? Just from where I'm standing. But what I got that what was powerful is we're just letting go of the past. And when we let go of the past, we're here in the present, and then we can create. So I see I had my own issues. It just wasn't religion. Religion didn't mean anything to me. So, but it was interesting to see that the true self-expression could come out, and the power by letting the past go. That's what I got.
Aho, thank you. Thank you. Good. So I would love to take a few questions from the audience, but first I had a question for the troupe, because tonight's a graduation after it's actually 3 months of doing this work and working together. And we were just circling and saying, wow, this is the last time we're going to get together. And since it has been a long journey, I asked them to kind of think of some creative or memorable moments that they might want to share with you all to bring you into that journey and that experience. So I'd love to hear a few of theirs, and then we'll take some questions, but I'd love to hear one from each of you. Who wants to start? Yay.
Oh, there are so many memorable moments, but it had to be, there was a time where we were right in the middle of rehearsal. We were rehearsing Nate's piece, and Michael comes out in a moo-moo and this blonde wig playing Jesus that I could not stop laughing to even watch the scene. He stole it. It was hilarious. It was definitely my most crazy memorable moment.
Well, stole mine. I have 3 moments, and they center around the content that we came up with. One was on content, the actors, and then the audience. Way back, probably the first or second class rehearsal we had, we were starting to deliver our first offerings at these sketches, and Kobe's original, first time he did his piece, we're looking at this guy, and he's just in character doing it, and it took me right to the edge at the end, and it was that aha moment, and that's when I thought, wow, there's some real talent here, and this is gonna be something good. And then the moo-moo moment, of course, was to have Jesus we were all rolling in that. I mean, that was just like, okay, we're not that serious here, right? And then, I think it was the same rehearsal, where is she? She's back there laughing probably in another room. Heidi was our audience, and she provided such amazing, positive, humorous feedback, just laughing, and I was just like, okay, this audience they're gonna get this. It's gonna be great.
So I wanted to share that we've been rehearsing in my garage. Just converted to my temple, but it's a very different experience than I mean, Linda, do we know about how many people were here tonight?
Yeah, about 128.
About 130 people. And so I invited Heidi to be our first audience, and I told them all that she's able to shapeshift and multiply herself to 130 people, and she laughed for all of you. Really fantastic, because they got a sense of what that'd be like to be played back to a live audience. Another story.
There were lots of funny moments, but I guess, so, you know, I was wearing white underwear for the show, and last time I get home, and there's makeup on my underwear. And I put it on my face, I couldn't figure out how I got the makeup on my there's all this makeup, I'm like, how did I get my face on it? And then I realized it was Katie.
Good. So, Thelma asked about challenging experiences. I wanted to take a few other questions, and then we'll hear from the cast. Other questions inquiring minds want to know. Okay, good.
I got one.
Yes.
And that is, was the script written by a single person, or was it a collaborative work?
Good, good. We'll talk about our script process, and that's a pretty easy one I can answer. Let's see. I want to talk to Kobe about that, because I think tell us about your scripting process.
Actually, this piece, my piece was the only piece that was fiction, fantasy. Everyone else was personal experience. And I actually wrote this piece on the way back to my car from my first Tantra Theater visit. I was in the audience, which was the last one. Katie and Heidi did such amazing jobs. And I actually wrote this piece walking back to my car in Mission Valley. It was, so when you're walking back to your car tonight, be careful. This kind of inspiration touches us pretty deep.
So each person did write their own piece, and then at the end, the dance was choreographed by Jen, so that was her contribution.
And the three songs that I did, I wrote the first one, and the other two, one was written by King Missile, and the other one was written by Beck. So I stole the second.
That's so cool. It's very much a collaborative art, because though the original inspiration came to Kobe, like rarely is a writing piece like, okay, it's a download and it's complete. It's in the context of the show. All of our pieces were woven and crafted, and then during the individual rehearsals I get to do a lot of rewriting, which is really fun for me. But oftentimes, we like to think it as like a shared intellectual property, because we co-create a whole story based on these little pieces. And that, of course, brings up its own challenges. So let's see if there's challenges that you have that you didn't share last night, or that you need to repeat. But Vilma did want to know what was some of the more challenging experiences in the last 3 months.
I'll speak to that. Editing. The stuff that got thrown overboard. The skits, the bits, the writing, the stories that we didn't tell that came up in the process, and also the editing. I had another 9 pages of Jesus Christ that wants to be told. But paring it down to something that will fit into a Hebrew. It's really hard.
Yeah. That's part of the reason I wore a dominatrix outfit at the beginning of the night. A big part of this process is going, that's fabulous, and I'm going to get out my whip, and we're going to whip it into shape, or cut this, or no, you can't perform that. But it's really hard for me as the director to make those choices of what, for me, like, we're doing deep therapeutic process, and the difference between art and therapy is putting a frame around it. And where do you actually put the frame? Because a lot of it is not in the frame. And that's a challenge. You were going to say?
It was, Adam stole it, but it was those gems that got lost. I never got to do. I saw Daddy fucking Santa Claus.
This piece started out, actually it wasn't the kind of cheery holiday fare that you saw on stage. It actually started out a little darker. And it started out as the prostitute being the only one on stage. And the voice of the girl was off stage and never appeared actually on stage. And it was much lonelier and much less deep. And thank goodness for our amazing director, because I mean, put me on stage with this amazing actress.
Yeah.
I couldn't get through it this afternoon either. It was such a pleasure.
Trust. There's some scary stuff there, and develop the kind of trust where you can, okay, he's kind of strangling me, but it's okay.
Okay, I have to admit, this is not meant for humor, but I had the scariest moment in my directing history with this man, because I'd known everybody prior, and Kobe was like as green and like out of the blue. Like, what a blessing, this man who's a gifted writer came and brought this story, which is juicy, it's dark, it's, you know, and he had performed it as a monologue, and then I was like, no, we're gonna get the interaction. The first night that these two rehearsed this, and he got into it, I was like, he's gonna kill her. This is not acting. I literally remembered, and she's so good that I was like, he killed her. So it was really intense for me, but thank God he earned our trust. So thank you guys for putting me on my edge.
And I asked for it. I said at the beginning I wanted to play someone other than myself, so I played a heterosexual woman having rough sex with a man. This is not exactly my life experience.
Good. Other questions? Yes. Your name?
My name is Scott.
Welcome, Scott.
Thank you. I came last night as well, and I've had some affiliations in the past with black box style theater, and watching you guys grow from last night to tonight and seeing just different takes on the scenes. I don't know, it's because I was sitting on the other side of the theater or not, but Colby, what I got last night from your scene and what I got tonight was just 180 opposite. It was wonderful to really watch. But have you guys thought about possibly going, say, a second weekend so more people would have an opportunity to see it the second or maybe the third time around? As you guys grow, everybody else can grow with you.
Thank you, Scott. Yay. I'm not going to answer the logistics of that, but I appreciate the feedback. I really do. Thank you. And, you know, not that I want to hide from that. It's the questions all of us have is like, we put this on stage and then we have to kill our characters 2 days after. You know, after 90 days, we only put it on stage for 2 days. And it's a bit like a sand mandala, what we're doing, what we build up to. And we're not, you know, yes, there's growth, and yeah, there's potential if we had weeks to develop and move into it, but there's also circumstances that make this right now our form of worship that's about being in the moment and then letting it all go. And it's about who we become, so we're not attached to these stories, not attached to this work. And I do feel like as we grow, that I'm open and flexible. Our format and our medium will likely change and grow with us. But right now, this is how we do it. This is our big showcase to friends and lovers. And I'm really grateful to Steve Bickle because he has helped me develop tantratheater.tv, where people in Wisconsin or other places who don't have community like this can continue to see like these pieces. So thank you, Steve, for helping us document it. Good. Questions for, okay, so I want to hear from Nate, but then I want to hear questions for the individual actors if you have them. That's Nate.
I wanted to kind of speak to that ongoing show idea, just in that this is therapy, and just to kind of put it in perspective, I went to high school and I learned Spanish. I didn't really learn it until I went to Mexico and actually had to speak it. I went and saw, I've had lots of sessions, and I've had all the, breathe and center yourself and all that. And it takes you so far, but now I'm here in Mexico, living the breathing and centering and grounding. And it's a nice place to visit, but I'm ready to go home.
Who else is ready to kill their characters? Do you want to speak into that?
I'm ready to get it up. I mean, it was most of us, most everyone else. I mean, maybe not us, but most people have these, one-on-one sort of intimate sexual relations, and the first time you're in a situation where you're in this vortex of energy where you're just overwhelmed, that is incredibly powerful. And then to go, okay, let's do it again on stage for everyone is like, that's a whole nother level to take it to. So, yeah, I think I'm ready to put that guy to sleep there.
So, a big part of what we do, and we're all going to meet on Tuesday, and we actually do a closing ritual wherein we cut the cords, because in this case, it's like we've got a provider and a John relationship. We have a mother to a son, a bishop to a, and we have given ourselves permission to project and work and psychodrama that on stage. And on Tuesday, we get to cut that and see each other as, as friends and supportive lovers. And then we also get to say goodbye to the alter ego that we constructed for the healing, and to get that that's not us, and to take that off. And some of the deepest work, I mean, this is really ego confronting, and we build that aspect of our ego, putting it on for the play, then taking it off gives us permission to put on anything we want, and it's a really liberating process. So I'm really thrilled and I love seeing how the performers now grow into their own lives, and they have more empowerment around who they want to play, on the stage of every day. That's really exciting.
I have a question for you, Colin. You were talking about not being a performer this time, having your own piece. So after it's all done at this point, how are you feeling on that?
So, Julie's asking, how many of you saw my one-woman show this last season? Yay! So I had my own huge catharsis breakthrough there, and then I got to doing this piece, and I was like, oh, I wanted to share. One of my saddest things, honestly, is that I've been working with the temples in Arizona, which got raided, and I very much, because of the theme of the show, it being sacrilegious, my heart longed to tell those stories and put that on stage and bring awareness to that. And I was planning to do that at some point in this, but as the show evolved and morphed, it actually didn't serve the larger story that we were creating. So I have a lot of sadness about not being able to serve that serve that story. And I would have loved to have turned tonight into a fundraiser, because there's still a priestess in jail, and there's lots of people who don't even know what's happening to the Tantra temples, and I want to bring awareness to that. But I trust I'll do that you know, when it's in alignment. This story that we told tonight was the story of these players and our collective community story. This is what's, you know, they're doing this on behalf of the collective, and we've all attracted all of you because these are the messages that we want to share tonight. So I'm finding peace in myself about that. Thanks for asking.
So Kamala, what is it? I mean, you had your piece, Mother Reverend, Mother Superior. That was just fantastic.
Thank you.
It was just like,
thank you. Fun.
I have a favorite story I want to tell.
Please.
It just happened.
Here, come in the light.
I went out to retrieve my CDs from the music stand, and a gentleman came in from the street, and he starts talking to Alma, and he forgot what he was saying, and I said, "Aha, you've been hypnotized."
Share a story. Who else? Jen, did you have something to say? Oh yeah. Who else? Nate?
Okay. About funny? Okay, so there's some really good dip back there. And so I got a nice big piece of broccoli and dipped it in the dip, and it's kind of spicy, and it was really good. And it made me start coughing. And this was just before Chris's piece was about to start, and we had to get out on stage. And so I put in a cough drop and got out to the stage and was thinking I was going to keep the coughing. Everything was good. And then I realized I was going to have to start singing really soon. I have this cough drop in my mouth, and I'm trying to figure out what to do, and kind of hiding behind Jen, stick it under my tongue. I think I finally swallowed it. And made it through the piece and got back onto the stage, back into the back room, and had some more of that dip. It's really good.
We love you, Nate.
Good.
Singing with a forked tongue, Nate?
Is there anyone else that wanted to share about their experience here? We're gonna get back to the party in a moment, but I wanted to make sure that you. Yes.
For anybody, what do you find really different about how you'll walk in life from having gone through this?
Oh, go ahead.
No, please.
No, you.
Jesus.
Let's hear both.
All right.
I may start playing with rope again.
I actually had a very profound experience last night playing the bishop, and I was able to access the deep, loving, misguided care that this bishop had for me, that had so much fear because of his own experience and conflict, and he wanted to save me from that, and I was able to actually experience how, in my professional life, as a high school teacher, sometimes I bring authority in a way that is deeply concerned, but also somewhat manipulative around things like on time and do your homework and behavioral things. Take your hat off when you come to class, turn off your cell phone. These rule things, the rules that maybe in some places create a certain safety, and they're coming from this deep place of love. Because you know, if your phone goes off during a job interview, you're not going to get that job. And wanting to transform the way that I send that message so that it's one that is mixed with the kind of love that is expansive rather than competitive. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to do that.
Jen, you wear makeup in your underwear?
What's that?
You wear makeup in your underwear for
Maybe, I guess.
Well, I was thinking about when we started this process. The funny story, I was just like laughing out loud, like after rehearsals every time, mainly because of Chris's piece, you know. Like we had all looked at Christmas songs, and that was sort of the theme. We wanted to see how we could create Christmas songs, and I came up with this, you know, pretty mild Brahma thing, and he came out with this thing where it's just like fucking and sucking and all this stuff, and I'm saying, wow. And,
Chris is way cool.
You know. And I just thought it was just so bawdy and out there, and I just was laughing all the time. And I didn't really get his song until we put it on stage. And then once it was on stage, I really got the story, you know. And that was the case with Tantra theater in general. When Kamala first introduced the idea to me 3 years ago, I was like, what is that? You know, what is it? And I really didn't get it until opening night, when we first had the first Tantra theater at our stage at our house, when we opened it. And Chris's piece was like that. And that's the profound part for me, is when it's something we don't get until it happens. Like if you heard this in a story, or even if it happened to you, you might not get it, right? But you get it in seeing it happen the way it's staged.
There's something, I just want to speak to the group mind that gets created, because there's something about the work that we're doing that's transpersonal and universal. You know, I mean, yes, we're telling individual stories, but we're telling them from a place of, this is not even mine, this is yours. We're going to put them on stage so that we can see the human condition from different perspectives. And it really is, like, a lot of times the individual performers can't see it nearly as clear until they get witnessed. And then it becomes obvious. And that's really where the healing happens, is in the witnessing. And that's why I'm so grateful to the audience that just keeps showing up, because what a conscious, beautiful, like, look around for a moment. What a cool audience. You guys are way cool.
So
No, I really do appreciate that. It's a spiritual principle. You know, there's Shakti who dances, but then there's Shiva, who's the expanded observer, all-seeing. And I have the all-seeing eyes of Buddha above the mantle tonight. I really felt that presence. So, last comments here.
One of the challenges that we all face to different degrees is we don't speak the same language of religion. So they're talking Mormonism, I'm talking evangelical Quaker, some are talking, what the hell are you talking about? And it was really frustrating when she didn't know what a Mormon bishop was. She was thinking Catholic bishop, and it's completely different. But then there's the awareness that that's our community, that's our audience, is we don't speak the same language of religion, and we had to find a way to translate all of that so it could be told universally.
Yay! So what I'd love to do for closure is to seal it with an Om, and the desire is with this, to send this healing, the catharsis and the light and the lessons out beyond ourselves, you know, to our loved ones, to those the people who wouldn't show up to a show like this. Yes?
And before you do that, don't you want to talk about the next series of Tantra Theater? Because I know you haven't really
Yeah, thank you, Michael. I did want to, it's a great opportunity to mention this. I've never done an advanced, like, just advanced player course, and we are going to start that in January. And what's exciting, so you'll be coming to see a show probably, well, with the advanced people, we might do it in a month. Who knows? Yeah. But for sure we would do like a show in March, actually. And the theme for that is multiple loves and polyamory. So really, really excited.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I think actually I got a text from Roxanne today, and I think that might be the title of the next piece, which is "We Do." So playing with that theme, but whether you're a beginner or advanced, we're going to do 2 levels of auditioning in January, and then we'll see where it goes. The great thing about the advanced course is that then, because there's people here who may not want to be out on television or on bigger stages. They might feel comfortable in our community, but not really public. And we now actually have access to a more national audience, and we'd like to harness that. So we're excited to invite you to that in March. Is that what you wanted to hear?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, cool. So now we're going to seal it, and we're sending this love and light to anyone who's not here. After we do this we are going to continue to, like I got you all seated for a reason. We can snuggle and cuddle and continue to party and play until, I think, what time is it, Heidi? Or
it
someone?
is 10 to 11.
Yeah, so we have another hour of the space. After that, Michael and a handful of devoted helpers are going to help us load our truck, because basically everything has to go back home tonight. So can I just see a show of hands of who's helping with that? Because I need to. So we've got some from the stage. Is there anyone else in it? And we've got Daniel. I think between the 4 of us, or the 4 of you. Thank you. Okay, so let's hold hands. Or yay. Just plugging into the matrix here so we can send this love out beyond this beautiful vortex. Starting with the breath. And expanding out through the heart to include this entire circle. All of the audience members who are here tonight, and all of their friends and loved ones through San Diego. Just let that pour out through the country, connecting through the continents around the globe. We send our love and light for the healing of Mama Earth and the enlightenment of all beings. Oh.